And finally, to present the last two, just check my watch, boy are we on time. Only award show with bumper music, by the way, it's kind of nice. The last two awards will be presented by a lovely lady from Magic 106.7, also with Boston Women in Media. Please welcome Candy O'Terry.
Thank you so much. I need to go get the plaque. As a member of the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame, I am very honored to present the following award to George Capalbo Sr., one of America's leading broadcast engineering executives, Chief Engineer, WRKO Boston, Vice President of Engineering, RKO Radio Division nationwide, supervised AM and FM stations in 7 major markets. Inducted on this day, September 13th, please join me in congratulating George Capalbo.
Thank you, Mass Broadcasters Hall of Fame. My name is George Capalbo, and I'm especially pleased to be the first engineer to be inducted into the Hall. It was totally unexpected, and I humbly accept, not only for myself, but for all the broadcast engineers who quietly work behind the scenes, behind the microphones and cameras, constantly striving to improve the reliability and quality of the programming we all enjoy and take for granted every day. It's not easy to do that sometimes. My first full-time job in broadcasting was in 1949 in my hometown of Worcester at WAAB Radio. A nice gentleman named George Wilson brought the station a few years later and promoted a limited experienced engineer, me, to be his chief engineer. He either saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, or he knew he could get me cheap. Looking back, that single event changed the course of my career and my life. Luckily, I grew into the job and worked at WAAB for a variety of owners for 17 years. In 1966, I was recruited by the Director of Engineering at WNAC TV Channel 7, Lad Halavity. He interviewed me for the Chief Engineer's job at WNAC on behalf of Perry Urey, who was the GM at that time. RKO owned the stations, and Perry hired me to be his Chief Engineer at WNAC, AM and FM, and the Yankee Network. Perry was the best GM I ever worked for or with in my 40 years in broadcasting. A real nice gentleman. In 1973, RKO promoted me to Vice President Engineering for the RKO Radio Division, and I oversaw some of the technical operation of some of the most prestigious AM and FM stations in America, such as WOR New York, KHJ in Los Angeles, KFRC in San Francisco, WGNS in Washington, D.C., on and on, just a few, to name just a few. We got into the radio network business in 1979, when RKO launched the RKO radio networks out of New York City and Washington, D.C. The first new American network